Ms. Hall.
I think we're about at the end. Because I don't have a question.
I think about doing that.
Let me recognize Mr. McMillan first.
I got two amendments, Mr. Chairman. One addresses the fee issue. It's on page 12, section 5, line 14. Page 12, section 5, line 14. And it, adds the word "at." It adds the word "and may charge fees for registry identification cards sufficient to cover its expenses in administering this act."
Mr. McMillan offers the amendment.
Second.
Second by Ms. Eisen. Any discussion, any questions on the amendment? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. That,
Sorry, I was not opposed.
okay. All right.
Go through the administrative procedures, so
Mr. McMillan's recognized.
Page 16, line 16 and 17, and page 17, lines 1 and 2, it just incorporates Representative Ward's suggestion about a Class C misdemeanor instead of $150 fine.
Does it eliminate 150? Mr. McMillan's offered the amendment.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ward. Any questions on the amendment? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And the amendment is adopted. Ms. Eisen.
Ms. Donna, I'm curious, are there any of the states that are currently allowing marijuana for medical use, or any of them provided through a clinic where, you know, that where you don't grow it at home, where you don't transport it, where you actually, and I don't know where the source would be to obtain it, but then you would maybe have some safeguards in place, and maybe, you know, if you had a prescription that had the warnings of not driving, it seems to me that that would be a way to move instead of, you know, allowing any number of individuals to grow marijuana at home.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes, there are. There are compassionate use centers where they actually grow marijuana under controlled circumstances, and people go there with their prescriptions and with their ID cards and get what they need for a certain amount of time. But yes, there are, and that's the optimum way to do it, under that kind of controlled circumstance.
Thank you.
Ms. Trent.
The appropriate time, Chairman, I want to give a little favor.
I think Ms. Hall had some comments first. You can yield to her.
I just wanted to say, one, I commend Representative Todd for taking on this issue, and to say that there'll be many more meetings and many more discussions. But as a mother of a child who suffered and died, was suffering from AIDS, and when this issue came before me at that time, the one thing that he would tell me periodically, if I could just get, you know, some marijuana to just ease where I am at this point, then that, you know, that would just help me tremendously. And I'm thinking, no, you can't be saying that to me. You know, you really don't want your mother to do that. But the other side of that is that, as a mother, I often reflect on those conversations and that request. And so the only thing I say in addition to that is that the challenge that we have, and I've enjoyed listening to the comments around this table, because, you know, initially it was, Representative Newton will tell you, we ended up with the subcommittee and we had some issues and concerns, but there was buy-in to the idea of doing something. I also will say that Representative Salam has been consistent in his concerns. Legitimate concerns about, are we doing this to legalize? That is a legitimate concern. He's been very consistent about that, and concerned about the fact that we were part of a trend. We tried to alleviate that, and obviously we have not done that. So I want to commend you on this, and if it took me 13 years with the landlord-tenant bill, I'd say just, you know, just, you don't give up. You just keep working. But maybe we'll get there. And want to say to each one of you, as I listen to your comments, I think Representative Collier has always said, I can help you with this bill, I don't promise you I'm gonna vote with it. But I find the people around this table have been very honest and willing to work and will spend the time to help us to get the kind of thing we want to do. And I thank you for
I
that.
thank you.
Mr. Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A lot of talk has been spoken about where the marijuana would come from, where it would be grown and all. Let me just open this up for a possibility where large catches of marijuana are made, whether it's like hundreds of pounds and so forth, and all that doesn't have to be presented in evidence. A sample of that could be, then that would be under the lock and key of law enforcement. And then there could be some central location that could be where that could be distributed and checked to make sure it was marijuana, whatever. Then it would put some restriction on. That's a concern I have as to how, if you have it, you need to just have it for the people who need it. And you need to lock it up and keep it away from other folks. But that would be one way to keep it in evidence and then distribute it throughout and let the health department check and make sure it was okay. And then that it was, in fact, marijuana after the Department of Forensic Sciences analyzed it. So I want to commend you again. I know there's a lot of problems with this, but I think it's a good start. And I think I appreciate all of the things that the members have said. I think this is a pretty diverse group, but I think that we work together, and I think we want to try to make the bill a good bill and be acceptable for all people. Thank you.
Ms. Todd, before I recognize Mr. England for his motion, I want to say this, that you have made an eloquent case for your bill today. I think you would also agree that the comments from this committee have been sincere in an effort to express legitimate concerns they had. Chairman Black is not here today, and he has a general policy that if we know we have a bill with legitimate concerns that we want to get worked out, he generally wants to say, let's work those out before we send it on to the floor to say, we'll solve it there. You know, his policy generally has been that let's work as many of the issues out as we can before we let it leave this committee. However, we recognize that you've worked a lot on this bill, but there have been legitimate concerns. I think the amendments that were put on the bill were good amendments today. If you want us to proceed today, recognizing that we're late in the session now and work needs to be done on the bill, I'll certainly entertain Representative England's motion. If you'd rather work on it and get as many people behind it as you can before we do that.
Well, my preference is to obviously try to get it out of committee if we don't have time to move it on the floor. And I promise to work on talking to each one of you over the summer and coming back next year with a bill that I think meets the concerns that you all have, legitimate concerns, and we'll start this again. And you know, this is an important issue to me, and I would like to see it at least one step forward, but then we're going to have to come back.
We thank you for your work. Mr. England.
I would do in favor.
We have a motion by Mr. England. We have a second by Ms. Hall. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The bill's given favorable report.
Thank you. Thank you all.